All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us on a Thursday. By the way, we are going to get to the, I don't know if I would call them controversial, but certainly some interesting comments that Kevin Garnett made about LeBron James. We'll get to that in a little bit, but joining us on the line, as he always does every Thursday, always appreciate it when he takes some time to join us. He is Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Mike, what's going on?
What's up, fellas? How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Doing great. No complaints.
I appreciate it. So, Mike, I guess before we get to the stories of the day that are on the TMZ website, I just want to ask you a basketball question. I noticed that Scottie Pippen the other day made some comments about James Harden. I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but Pippen basically said that if he took as many shots as James Harden took back in the day, he could easily average 50 points a game. He's really going after James Harden. By the way, he's not the only person that has done this. A lot of guys back in the 80s and 90s are just blasting James Harden for the way he plays the game. I just wanted to know, what did you make of Scottie Pippen's comments, and what do you make of a lot of players that just go after James Harden for the way he plays?
Yeah, I get it. Everybody wants to say their era was the best, but this is basketball now. It's a different game. It was rough when Scottie played. Now we take a lot of threes, but that's how the game's played. I think it's unfair for guys to go at James Harden. I don't agree that just anybody could do it. It's not just a matter of taking shots. You have to make the shots. Sure, he puts the ball up a lot, but I think he's undoubtedly one of the best scorers in basketball, and I think that James Harden is clearly a better scorer than Scottie Pippen was. And Scottie Pippen's an all-time great, but I thought that was a little bit unfair for Scottie to go at James Harden.
No Tippin' Pippen, as I like to call him, but let's get to some of the stories.
That was really good, Brian.
Let's get to some of the stories you have up there on the TMZ website. First of all, I grew up a Red Sox fan, so obviously Terry Francona, to me, did such a wonderful job in Boston, but there's a new story that just came up that you guys have up there that apparently his World Series ring was stolen, and they do have a suspect arrested. How the hell did this happen, Mike?
Yeah, but not only one ring, 2 World Series rings are stolen from his house, and it came back and discovered the rings missing along with some other stuff, and obviously was taken back, was shocked, was really upset about it. They did find this guy, though, and they found the rings. I don't know why this guy hasn't been convicted yet, but the guy that they think did this, he sold them to a local sports memorabilia shop that was in the same town as Terry's house was. So, they didn't have to look very far to find them. And obviously the shop, when they get 2 World Series rings, and it's not something that was brought into a local shop every day. So they thought something was suspicious. So kind of everybody worked together, and they were able to get the rings back to Terry. But
are you sure it wasn't Pedro Martinez? It wasn't Pedro or Mo Vaughn or Nomar Garcia Parra? Are you sure? I mean, I don't know. I thought they could be suspects.
I saw the guy's mugshot, and I can say for a fact that it is not Pedro Martinez or Mo Vaughn.
I thought Pedroia could be a top suspect as well, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe A-Rod. How many rings does he have? I don't know. Maybe it's A-Rod.
One.
Yeah, he's got one. Maybe he wanted a few more.
2009, the last time the Yankees won.
Yeah, always envious of Derek Jeter. It could be a former Yankee. Maybe it was J-Lo. I don't know. We just got to
I think it was definitely Ken Griffey Jr.
He was sleeping. Rumor is he was sleeping when he stole the rings. Anyway, go ahead, JD.
So Gerrit Cole has now shaved his beard because the Yankees told him to do so. I think this is going to affect his rising 101-mile-an-hour fastball, and I think this is a shady move by the Yankees to appease some of their major sponsors. What say you, Mike?
Yeah, he doesn't look the same without the beard.
He just
I'm
looks.
glad he kept the hair. The hair is still long, but
yeah,
it doesn't look the same. He's not as scary, clean shaven. And it actually did cross my mind. As silly as it probably is, it did cross my mind. Will this affect his swagger in some way to not have the beard? He didn't want to shave it. We actually saw him the day before the press conference, and we asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, it's disappointing you have to shave." So he didn't want to do it. But that's the way of life with the Yankees. A lot of people have said it's antiquated, they don't like it, and I would tend to agree with those people. But that's the rules, and they give him $324 million, so I guess he can, the least he can do is shave.
They better not. They better not do that in the NHL, because I think in the playoffs in the NHL, there are some teams where every player is growing his beard. It's.
I mean, he's honestly built like an NFL linebacker. He's a big dude.
Big man.
I didn't know he was. I mean, without the beard, you get. I mean, he's not a small human being.
No, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Some people can't even grow a mustache, let alone the beard that he has. I think he should keep it. That's just my personal opinion.
He hadn't shaved in 10 years, and I heard him say that maybe he'll get like a Gillette sponsorship out of this, which, the guy doesn't need any more money, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do try to scoop him up and maybe he can make some kind of a sponsorship deal.
Isn't it a double standard, though? Because when we talk about women and shaving, women are supposed to shave their legs and they're supposed to do it. But with men, they can do whatever the hell they want. They could be hairy and disgusting and nobody cares, but women need to all maintain. That's why I'm glad I'm not a woman. Yeah. I could never be a woman, and if I was a woman, I would be disgusting. So, I mean, that's just the way it is,
Me too. I haven't shaved. I probably haven't shaved, guys, in 10, 12 years. It's been that long. Yeah. I don't like it. I'm like Gerrit Cole, minus the fastball. But
by the way, for the record, I was not saying just because I am a man, I am not disgusting. I'm also disgusting as a man. I just wanted to be very clear on that. I'm just saying I would even be more disgusting if I was a woman. That's what I was trying to say. So I don't want people to think, oh, Brian, what are you saying? You're Brad Pitt. No, I'm the opposite of that. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Terrell Pryor, right? We have this woman who allegedly stabbed the NFL wide receiver, and now she was finally released. What is the latest on this story?
Yeah, she was released from jail. She was in jail for a few weeks. At one point the judge didn't even set bail. She's facing serious charges. It's essentially their state's version of attempted murder. So she was sitting there since November 30th, a couple of weeks, and Terrell Pryor, the guy that you would expect not to want her out of jail, was actually the kind of the number one guy who was pushing for her to be released. And finally, the judge allowed her to leave on like a version of house arrest. She has an ankle monitor, so she's not allowed to leave her property. But at least for her sake, she's not in the jail anymore. And now she'll obviously get with her lawyers, and she'll face this charge here. She's facing a really long time in prison.
Do we know how this happened? Why this? Do we know why this happened?
As far as initially, why the stabbing happened?
Yeah, they get into an argument. Like, what? Did he not catch enough passes? What happened?
Vaguely. So that night they were out at dinner with some friends, and we're told that they had some type of argument at dinner. These two lived together. So Terrell went back to the apartment, and she allegedly went out with her friends, and they went clubbing. Now, there's a little point of contention here exactly when they got back, how it started. But there was an argument when she returned back from clubbing to their apartment, and if you listen to her side, essentially that he started to get physical with her, and she had to defend herself, and she used a knife to do so. If you listen to his side, he was just attacked, and he was kind of just like sleeping at home and just minding his own business. And then how
was she released? I don't understand. When you stab somebody, usually you don't get released. That's what.
Right,
I mean.
Right, and they didn't, and they didn't for weeks. And she went before a judge the day or two after she was arrested, and the judge denied bail. So they did not want her released, but because I think you have a victim here in Terrell Pryor who was pushing the judge and saying, "Hey, let her out. I'm okay. Let her out. And they eventually did. Under the condition that she just not leave her house at all. But it's strange because, like you said, it's a serious charge. I mean, you're looking at someone charged with attempted murder here who could be going to jail or prison for decades. The charge that Terrell was charged with is a misdemeanor, and that's obviously not nearly as serious. But you're right; it is a little bit surprising that someone who was charged with attempted murder essentially is free on bail.
Yeah, and Terrell Pryor's had a lot of issues his entire career. So Odell Beckham, there was a lot of rumors out there that he wanted to leave the Browns along with Jarvis Landry, the two highly decorated receivers that the Browns have currently. He says those rumors are not true. He did not buy a house so he could sell it, and they're going to figure this thing out. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, it says he's going to be back with the Browns in 2020. Who knows whether they want him or not. The guy has 2 touchdowns. He's not having a good year. We know there's been drama with the injuries. He's told multiple teams, "Come get me," during during games, saying, get me out of here, trade for me. It's a weird situation. Like, I'm a Giants fan. Speaking from a fan standpoint, I'm a Giants fan. I went through all this with Odell. That's why when everyone was saying, how did the Giants get back Jabril Peppers and just a single pick for Odell Beckham, I was happy with it because I just wanted them to get Odell Beckham off the team because I think he's a net detriment for the team. Obviously extremely talented, but just something about him that just doesn't seem to be good for football teams. They were anointed the Super Bowl champions this year before they had done anything, and they're it's been a losing franchise over the last decade. So it's just a mess there. I don't know what's going to happen. From people I talk to, it seems like they're going to keep Freddie Kitchens, and they're going to now it seems like they're going to keep Odell. So I don't know. Not the way I would go, but I would not be surprised if we see a repeat of this year next year because it doesn't seem like they're going to change anything.
So reading between the lines, it's kind of a karma situation for you. It's more of a kind of serves him right type of deal after what he did in New York to your Giants.
I dislike him as a person. I know his father a little bit and his stepdad, and I think they're nice people. I just to me, Odell is like the definition kind of this 2019, 2020 athlete, and it seems to be about how many Instagram followers you have and all those things, and it seems that winning sometimes can take a back seat.
I think it's safe to say
I want to pull back. I want to pull back on both of you for a second. I gained so much respect for Odell Beckham when I found out he decided to be hanging out on a boat with the Biebs. When he was hanging out with Bieber, I said, I really do like this guy, and I'm going to support him for the rest of his life.
By the way, Brian, Bieber has a new album coming out in 2020. We'll be playing it on this show on repeat on a couple of shows.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I want to hear that played as badly as I want to see Donald Trump naked. Okay. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it.
Odell, he reminds me of Terrell Owens without the production.
Ugh.
Right. It's true. It's so true.
I like his head and shoulders. I like his commercials though. I like his head and shoulders.
And Terrell Owens would destroy Odell Beckham in any type of physical confrontation.
All right, Mr.
Oh, you know what? And you know what? Remember when I don't remember if it was last year or the year before when Odell did that interview with Lil Wayne and he was kind of throwing Eli Manning under the bus a little bit. Look at Odell's numbers. 2 touchdowns this year. The catches, yards, terrible. Now look at his first 3 years. And he wasn't even healthy for those first full 3 years. But look at his stats with Eli Manning. I bet you Odell looks back on those days now and wishes that Eli Manning.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. And people have been calling Odell this fantastic athlete. Yeah. Does he have a great vertical leap? Are his families, are his parents, one's an Olympic athlete, one's an NFL player? Yes. But this guy ran a 4.5 240. He's only 6 foot, 190 pounds. Terrell Owens was 6'3", 230. Yeah. He overpowered everybody at his position. Beckham is not that good of an athlete. I don't think his production is going to get any better. I think it's actually going to get worse.
That was 10 minutes.
No, because he's been hurt. He can't stay healthy.
Yep.
That was a 5-minute discussion about Odell Beckham. I want 5 minutes of my life back. But Mike Babcock,
I think it's that catch. I think the catch ended up being the worst thing for him.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
You're probably right about that. All right, Mike, last question for you, and it's the most important one. What is Mike Babcock doing this weekend? What is a stud like yourself doing this weekend?
This is going to sound fun. I'm flying to New Jersey tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds great.
How fun is that?
Well, if you're flying into Atlantic City and staying at the the Taj Mahal doesn't exist anymore. The Trump Marina, is that what they call it now? Yeah, Trump.
The Trump Marina is one, yeah. Harris is a bunch. I will try to. You know what? That's a good idea, Brian. I'm going to get there.
Yeah, you should go there. Stay there. Ask me for some sports betting tips. I'll give them to you. You put some money down on some
Babcock, games. I'm only going to be a few hours away from you. I'm flying out Friday to see my family in Connecticut, so
In Connecticut? No, what?
Yeah,
Ryan, it's going to be close.
Yeah, I'm going to be going to
we're a couple hours away right now, but still,
that's true.
I like that.
UConn Husky game I'm going to on Sunday. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Very
cool.
Hey, who are they playing, Brian?
My sister went
they're playing a horrible team.
Connecticut, so I've spent some time in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's all right. A lot of old rich people. I wish my parents were one of them. They're not. They're old, but they're not rich.
And it takes forever to drive through the state. It never ends when you're driving through the state.
It really does. Well, Mike, I hope you have a great time with your family, man. Have a great trip. If I don't talk to you, have a great Christmas. And we will catch up with you soon, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us, as always.
You guys, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike.
Have a great holiday. That is Mike Babcock. Does a fantastic job at TMZ Sports. By the way, that is true. My parents are old. That's why I'm going to see them. I'm flying out to see them tomorrow, right after the show. And I'm going to go see some – it's funny because I'm going to go see some friends. I shouldn't really call them friends because I haven't seen them in 25 years. But I'm going to see some people that I went to middle school with when I was this little 13-year-old. There's people that I found on Facebook that I haven't talked to since I had a full head of hair. I was 13 years old, and I'm actually going to be hanging out with them. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not going to hang out with my ex-girlfriend, though. I dated this girl from the age of 17 to 22. She cheated on me, and now she's married with kids. I did see her like 5 or 6 years ago, but I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
In a platonic fashion, I would hope.
Well, of course, she's married and she has kids. What kind of person do you think I am? You calling me Donald Trump?
I was hoping
what kind of person do you think I am?
I was hoping you were not a home wrecker, Brian.
No, I'm not a home. No, I would never do
that.
I mean, if I thought there was a chance, maybe I would have.
Did you go to any of your reunions, 5, 10, 15, 20?
Absolutely not. Let me tell you something. I grew up in a city called West Hartford, a bunch of snobby white people, okay? My parents never had a lot of money. I've come from a hardworking family. We're, middle class would be putting it, maybe a little higher than it should be. But I grew up on the end of a suburb where I could have gone to a school that maybe didn't have those people, or to a school that had, a better school, because I should say better academics. I went to the better academic school, but because of that, I suffered because the people that went to my school were a bunch of snobby a-holes.
So I feel like that's kind of why you aren't a huge fan of Donald Trump, because you kind of related to people that you went to high school with.
Well, that's the thing. I never related to them. What do you mean? I never relate to people like that.
But you relate Donald Trump to them, and that kind of has a spot, a deep-seated spot in you.
Not really. I don't think
it creates a bit of a bias.
No,
a little bit of a bias.
It's not a bias. I think if you ask any normal human being, what are you saying? You're one of those people? Is that what you're saying?
Not at all.
Are you one of those people I went to high school with? What are you trying to say here? I don't understand.
I don't think I'm aristocratic. I don't have family in Upper Manhattan.
Well, our videographer, who's in the other room, campaign is pointing at you right now. So I'm just, I needed to, he's laughing right now in the production studio. So I don't know. Listen, all I'm saying is this: I think normal human beings that are decent people. The campaign's just cracking up there.
So Brian, there's a chance that our show
let me finish my thought.
All right, finish.
Sorry.
Well, you were cracking up. How am I supposed to?
Because campaign is laughing in the other room. He's making me laugh now. I lost my train of thought.
Be a professional and don't pay attention to campaign.
I'm not a professional.
He's trying to stir the pot.
I'm not a professional. He's stirring the rich white pot. That's what he is doing right now. No, but seriously,
he's being very racist
I think any normal human being has resentment for people that are spoon-fed as kids, that haven't worked hard. I'm not talking about you, that haven't worked hard a day in their life. And I feel like there are a lot of people now, I went to school with them, and now it's 20 years later, and they still don't have jobs, and they just live off their family's wealth. I don't have any respect for people like that. I never have, and I never will. Now, there are a lot of people that were born into wealth that have done a lot of good things for a lot of good people, and they are hard workers, and I respect them.
And you don't think Donald Trump's one of those people?
Absolutely not. Absolutely 100% not. He's had yes men around him his whole life.
Started working for his father's company at 8.
I noticed.
About 18 years.
So you want to tell me
get in the position to actually run it?
You want to tell me that Donald Trump and his kids, his useless kids?
I didn't say his kids. I said Donald Trump himself.
Okay, so his father gave him a $500 million company. Are you telling me
that he worked his way into running?
Oh, really? So I wish it was that easy. I wonder if I could work my way into a $500 million company, and it was that easy. Here you go, son. Here's a $500 million company. Good luck, boy. I wish I could do that. He's just a brilliant business. I know you think he's just a brilliant businessman.
Do you know how many $500 million companies are in the United States?
He's so brilliant.
There's
I know.
hundreds and hundreds, but there's only one former businessman who is the president of the United States. Donald Trump did a lot with what he was given. There's plenty of people who have what Donald Trump had.
So why won't he release his tax returns then if he's so brilliant? Why is it that he released?
We'll see that he does.
Why is it that he released a 15-year stretch of his tax returns and it shows how many times he filed for bankruptcy and the losses he generated over the years? If he's such a brilliant businessman, now I will say this about him: he's certainly brilliant at self-promotion. He is certainly taking advantage of this presidency.
Is self-promotion and marketing not part of business? Because I feel like it is.
Just because you are good at,
especially in 2019,
there are a lot of
considering
people
that social media is right in your face.
Okay, let me answer it by saying this. Just because you're good at self-promotion doesn't mean you're a fantastic businessman and all your businesses work, okay?
Does it make you a bad human being?
What Donald Trump said last night makes him a bad human being. What Donald Trump says about women on a daily basis makes him a bad human being. The way Donald Trump talks to people on a regular basis makes him a bad human being. If you have unprotected sex with a porn star 2 months after your wife has a child, that makes you a bad human being. And I could name many, many, many other occasions of things that Donald Trump has said in his behavior that make him a bad human being. Being a bad businessman does not necessarily make you a bad human being. Saying the things that Donald Trump says on a regular basis absolutely makes you a horrible human being.
So we have a chance of probably getting the show syndicated in other markets very soon. By the time your 25th high school anniversary or reunion rolls around, you'll be what, 43 years old, 42, 43 years old?
Thank you for giving him my age. Yeah, 23. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so 3 or 4 years until that happens. If we are in 25 markets by that time, I want you to promise me that you will attend your high school reunion and you will let Campaign travel with you and turn it into a documentary.
You want me to promise that?
I want an absolute promise right now that if we're in 25 markets by the time of your 25th high school reunion, that you will attend and we can turn it into a documentary.
Only if my date is a very famous and attractive celebrity. Can you get me to get on a date with Roseanne Barr or Rosie O'Donnell?
I was thinking Hillary Clinton.
Hillary? I would take Hillary.
Okay.
I would absolutely take Hillary Clinton.
Would you take Lizzo?
I have to go with a very famous celebrity. If you can, and maybe if I have Donald Trump money at that time, maybe I can steal Melania away from him. And I'll even sleep in the same bed as hers.
What if I rent you a car here, one of those Ferraris?
I'm not going to drive that to Connecticut. Are you nuts?
Or those Lamborghinis.
I'm not going to drive that to Connecticut.
Okay, what if I rent you a Lamborghini in New York and you drive that to Connecticut? And you show up in a Lamborghini. Rent it. Kind of like in Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, same thing.
I would consider that.
Okay.
I'm not saying yes right now. I would consider that. Why do you want me to go to my high school reunion so bad? I find that kind of weird, actually, creepy.
I think it would be really good content, and I want you to do it.
Because you think it'd be really good content?
I think so. I think it'd be.
But I'm not that kind of person, though. I don't flaunt. I'm not that kind of person.
Well, obviously you are, because you want to have a hot girl on your arm. Clearly you are that type of person.
Facetious.
Now you're totally contradicting yourself.
I'm being facetious, and I'm joking around.
Oh.
Listen, let me be honest with you. I have no reason, and I have nothing inside of me that would say I want to hang out with a bunch of those losers. Now, I do have some friends from high school that I still talk to. I have a few of them, but very few of them. And it's not, don't say, "Well, Brian, you didn't have any friends." No, I had a lot of friends in high school, believe it or not.
Hey, by the way, me and Stein will come too.
No, that's just weird. I'm not gonna go with two dudes to a high school reunion.
Why would that be weird?
It's weird.
Why would that be weird?
Because everyone's gonna think we're gonna have a threesome after the reunion with two dudes. I'm not gonna do that. What are you, out of your mind?
Me, Stein.
No, absolutely not.
An A-list female celebrity and you. 25th high school reunion.
I don't want the third and fourth wheel hanging around me. If I'm hanging out with Hillary Clinton and I'm bringing her to my high school reunion, I want to take her home with me.
So it's okay in Vegas, but it's not okay in your hometown.
No, if I was hanging out with a attractive woman, you think I'd want you two losers hanging around me that night? Hell no. The only reason why Stein has hung out with me with a few dates I've had recently is because I didn't want to talk to my date. That's why. That's the only reason why. I used him. I used Stein. And I know he wishes that women would use him the way I use him.
So you use him to get through the date so you can still get what you want at the end of the date.
I'm not going to comment on
without having that 2 or 3 hour dialogue that's necessary to get to that point.
Listen, I'm not going to comment on sexual behavior.
That sounds like the action of a not great human being.
For the record, I have never invited Stein to a date I had where I thought I would be lucky at the end of the date. If that was my intention, I would definitely not want that creep around. There's no question about it, okay? It's not even close. You're way off.
So what's the point of going on a lot of dates if you're not trying to get lucky at some point during the date?
Well, some people actually want to meet a nice girl and spend the rest of their life with them. You do understand that, right?
So you're bringing Stein on a date with you to meet the woman of your dreams.
There's
the love of your life. You're hoping to meet the love of your life, and you want Stein to be there while you do it.
Absolutely not. The few times that I've invited him out on his date is because things were a little bit awkward. I'm not going to get into details because some of the women that I've actually have dated do listen to this show, and they get angry at me for talking about them. So I'm not going to do that. I refuse to do that. Not going to do. I know you're trying to do. You're trying to pin me into a corner. I'm not going to do that. Well, guess what? Good news.
Brian,
I got good news.
Brian.
I got good news. The show's over. Okay? The show's over. Okay? You're a creep. Well, I don't know why you want me to go to this reunion, so it's just so freaking weird. But anyway, we'll continue the reunion talk tomorrow if you would like. I will gladly.
Very glad.
All right, tomorrow on the show, we're going to have a good time. It is Friday, man, and then I'm going to be off on vacation. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We've got the legend himself. Maybe I'll go to Sean Hannity's reunion. He's coming up next. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Catch you tomorrow.